Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. I greet you today from the view from my wife's desk, and as you can see, the office tank has water in it, has some rock in it, has some sand in it, and we're working our way to setting up a nice little reef tank. It's going to be corals only, and I want to take you guys along for the ride of what it's like to set up a reef tank like this. You've seen, if you've watched a lot of my other videos, my other reef tank is in a number of them. That is a 75-gallon setup, and it is quite a bit different than this tank is going to be. Number one is the size. Number two is the type of corals that will be going into it. Now, this is obviously a smaller tank, and therefore you don't have quite as much space for some of the larger growing corals. So we're going to go with what they call an LPS and an SPS type of corals for this tank. That is large polyp stony corals and small polyp stony corals. They tend to be, I say tend to be, a little harder to keep. Your parameters need to be spot on. Your lighting needs to be a higher quality, or I say a higher quality. That's not always true. You can get good lighting at a cheaper price. Quality does not always mean more expensive. But when you're talking about keeping some of these corals, we'll go through it a little later. It's not so much going to be a tutorial about how to set up this type of tank. I just want to take you for the journey of setting up a new tank, because this is probably my number one hobby. I love to keep saltwater fish. I especially love coral reef tanks because it's so neat to see these animals grow and how they totally transform the tank into what you're looking for. So you saw that this tank was empty behind me. If we will take a look, I'm going to move you over to the shot from my desk. As you can see here, the phones are at. This is a shot from my desk looking back towards hers. So you may see this quite a bit once I get back to live streaming, once I have the new computer set up. That is going to be a couple weeks down the road. I'd say probably closer to 8 weeks to get that all up and going. But this is the view of the tank itself. It is 14 gallons. It's what they call an all-in-one tank. The sump part is on the back. That is where we have a little bit of filtration here. As you can see, all the water comes through that slots you see right in the front. And there's a pump back there. There's a heater back there. I will list everything in the description that I use and links to it. So if you would be interested in setting up something similar to this, you kind of know the price point. You know kind of where you're sitting. This is, let me see if we can get a good view up here of the numbers on it. I don't think we're going to be able to zoom in this close. But this is a Fusion Peninsula 14-gallon tank. It's made by AquaMarine. So, like I said, there'll be links for it. It is a perfect size for an office fish tank. They do make a larger size, a 20. They make the 14, and they also make a 10-gallon. I would not personally go more than 20 gallons when you're talking about an office or a desktop fish tank. Really, 20 is still pretty big, and they are pretty heavy. This kind of fit what we were looking for, and as you can see, its stand is nothing but a desk that's been converted, painted. I've added some reinforcement to it. Not that it absolutely needed it, but anytime you're dealing with the amount of weight that a fish tank can accumulate, you always want to be on the safe side. You have to remember that even a tank this small will weigh over 100 pounds for sure. Actually, it's going to weigh well over. It's going to be closer to 200 pounds. So if you can't get 200 pounds onto what you're setting it up, please look another direction. But for a 10 gallon and a 14 gallon, even a 15 gallon, most of the time a table or a sturdy desk can hold that, possibly even a bookshelf, depending on what it's made out of and everything. Ultimately, you can also go for the manufactured stands that they do make for these, but at this weight scale, you can pretty much use what you want. Just going to go through a little bit about what's in it. You saw it was all cloudy in my last video, my weekly wrap-up video, and that was because we added some of this Carib Sea live sand. I'm always a big fan of the live sand itself. It does help jumpstart the tank. I could have taken sand out of my other tank, but we kind of wanted to start this one as sterile as possible. As you can see, all this rock that it is in there is not live rock. It has not been in the water. It's been out and dried or has been mined. Most of this rock is not rock that came out of the ocean itself. A few pieces did, but most of it is all protected. So you're still protecting the natural reefs that are there. It is mined out of the ground. It's not actual live rock out of the ocean itself. It will become live rock over time as the bacteria builds into it as the tank cycles. You may ask me, why is the water not moving in the tank? Well, for a good reason. I turned it off. And there is a good reason for that. Making the video, we don't want to hear a lot of noise. And unfortunately, one of the common problems with this style tank, that the pump that comes with it is fairly noisy. And we're going to see when I start it up, which I'm going to do right now here for you. You can hear that hum. It's not too bad right now. They can get worse. Most of the time they will actually get better. Most of the time when you first start a new tank, the pump that starts with it, the noise that you get will quiet down somewhat. But for me, this will be an upgrade in the future. We are going to need a little more flow. But at this point in time, we're looking at probably 2 to 3 months before we see our first coral in this tank, just to get all of the cycling of the tank done. I'm not going to talk too much about how to do this. If you're absolutely interested in doing something like this, if you have questions about it, please leave them in the comments section. I will answer them to the best of the ability. But just like the phone farming world, the saltwater aquarium, and especially reef tank world out there, there are so many people willing to help you out. There is information everywhere about anything you want to know about it. I use a site called Reef to Reef. It is a great community. So if this is something that you want to get into, you want to start to look into doing, keeping a saltwater reef, you can do it fairly inexpensively. It is not just a fishbowl on your desk. It's not like freshwater tanks. You will need to spend some money for it. Most of your money is going to come in the initial tank and then your lighting. Everything else you can kind of get away with doing some DIY stuff, or depending on the type of corals you want to keep, you can sacrifice things here and there. But if you're looking to keep a high quality tank, the initial tank cost is going to be fairly high depending on the size tank you want. Fish tanks can be very expensive. Stands can also be very expensive, sometimes more than the fish tank themselves. But by far, lighting is the highest cost point on there. I have her light that she's using for this tank here. It's off to the side. I think I actually showed it in the last video itself. Once the stand comes in for the light that mounts it to the tank, it's due in later this week. I will show you that. It is a pretty neat piece of tech. It is all Wi-Fi. It is controlled through an app on your phone. So you can set everything with the light from your phone. And it is quite impressive, especially on a small tank like this. We will be able to grow just about any corals that we would like from a light standpoint. Now there's also a lot of other things. If you notice, there's a little bit of film on the glass itself. That's just from the sand settling out. It will need to be wiped down. But for right now, it's going to be like this for a few weeks. We need to get the bacteria built up into these rocks so that it can start to support life. It is called the cycling of the tank, and a few weeks after that, we're going to be in for some ugly looking tank. It happens with all fish tanks as they cycle through, as they're getting ready to support the life. You need to have that bacteria build up. You will get a large amount of algae that bloom, and eventually they will go away, and the more favorable algae, that bright pink and purple that you see in my other tank, I will do a video talking about that as well if anybody's interested in that. I'm more than happy to show off my fish tanks. I have a number of them in the house. I have 3 saltwater, 2 freshwater tanks in the house, so I love to keep all sorts of fish tanks around. I think they make a great addition to every room, and it does help with the humidity in the tank in the house as well. It helps get that moisture up in the air if you suffer from a lot of dry air in your house, especially in the winter months due to the heat. It does help that as well. Sorry about the noise. I will actually turn the tank off while I finish up with this video, but it is a great hobby. It's what I love to do. Luckily, I found a woman that loves it as well. She never had a fish tank at all, and she turns out to really love the reef tanks as well, and it's been a great thing. So this will be pretty much up to her to decide. I didn't let her. We kind of decided that this tank she can be a little more involved in. She's going to pick the corals. It's not very tall, so she'll be able to get in there and do the work on the tank that she can't do on the other one, just because you need to be, your arms have to be a certain length in order to reach the bottom of a deeper tank. So this is nice, a perfect size for her to cut her teeth, so to say, at managing her own reef tank as well. And it does sit right in the office, so as I do the YouTube videos, you will get to see this move along, and I will do specific videos for it as well. I can't wait to get back to you with the video of the light, with having everything set up, because it is a really cool it's a really cool piece of tech. And to kind of merge this video in to what the channel's about, I'm gonna stay mostly with phone farming. Yes, I'm gonna do mobile games as well. Yes, there has been a number of people in the phone farming community that want to get a group together to do some gaming, to do some streaming of games. And once I get the computer set up, I think that's going to be a real possibility. I can go about getting a capture card for the Xbox as well that we just got for Christmas. So there's a lot of things. I really do. I love this community as far as my subscribers I have here on the channel and the greater phone farming community. They're really good people. There's lots of people that have a common interest, and I'm hoping that maybe some of the people that watch my channel may have an interest in this as well, because it is a great hobby. And I will tell you right now, everything but the rock inside the tank, just because I had a bunch of it when I set the other stuff up in my other tank, was bought with phone farming money. So this is the extras. This is where it all kind of slides into the common theme of my channel. All this stuff here is brought to you by those right there. Everything on here was made. The tank, the money came from phone farming. The sand was ordered from phone farming. I'm going to get a quick picture here. This is the lighting, the AI Prime HD. That was from phone farming. And if you look through and you see the prices of some of this stuff, you'll see that without running that phone farm right there, this all very well may not be quite as attainable, because it can be a bit pricey depending on what you're going with. So I thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoy this video. I am going to do more just because I like to add something different. I don't like to just talk about phone farming apps. There's not that much new all the time, and it is nice to let everybody, let my subscribers, let everybody that comes across this channel see what I enjoy doing and how you can, just by running a few phones for, just running a few phones, a few apps, can make that extra bit of money that can make some of your little dreams become realities. Because this is mine. This is kind of my family's, the dream that we have to get a nice fish tank up and running here in the office. So I thank you for watching. If you like what I do here on the channel, please subscribe. Hit the like button if you like the video. And as always, guys, have a great day.